for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And every week we're joined by the coach, Andre Tourigny, the Bear. Join us on the program. Bear, it's been a rough week for you guys, man. I see you on the TV on those benches. You always sound very positive when you chat with us, but I would not want to cross the hallways with you as my head coach. Like you can get a grumpy stare on your face. How's the team holding up this week?
I think we yesterday we didn't play our best game. There's no doubt about it. But I think I thought we played really well against Ottawa. Unfortunately, sometimes you play a good game, but the puck doesn't bounce for you, and there's stuff you cannot control doesn't go your way. So I think we played a good game against Ottawa. Yesterday we did good stuff, but at the end of the day, Colorado, a really good team, and they could score 2 goals in their power play, and we could not generate enough offense. We're not confident with the puck. We're not aggressive enough in our battles. But if you look at all in all, I think at this point we need to just regroup and keep our confidence up and stay with it.
Yeah, Coach, one of the challenges of being a head coach of an NHL team is dealing with the ebbs and flows of an 82-game season. It's a wild ride. How do you manage that? What are some of the buttons you push, or what do you try to do when you have a team that's struggling a little bit to get them back on the track that they were playing at earlier in the season?
Yeah, the big thing is to not go too high or too low. That's something is important. When you play good, you're not as good as you think. You're always 5-10%. A little bit better than usual, and you're 5-10% to just get back to a bad place. So I don't think right now we're playing as bad as people may think. I think we're maybe 5% off, and that's in a good league like the NHL. That makes the difference. So I don't think we need to go too high or too low. We just need to keep working every day, keep your head down, grind it out, and good thing will happen. I don't think we're far off.
That's a good way to look at it, because I don't think anybody thought, hey, well, the club's going to stay undefeated. You're going to go 82-0 here. But at the same time, you want to keep your guys. There's got to be a level of consistency, right? Where it's like, yeah, exactly. We got to keep our guys at that same spot. We got to keep their heads in the right place. So now that you're 7 games into the season, where are their heads? How are they feeling about everything? You get dinged up with injuries, but that's also part of the game too. And so, how's
Absolutely.
The locker room right now as you guys are just a handful of games into the season?
What I like about our group is they're really competitive and they care a lot. So where they are right now is they're in the spot where they want to win. They're competitor. So I like that about our team. They want to make plays. They want to please the crowd. They want to win games and get up in the standing. So obviously the last 2 games did not please us, but we played really good against Boston, and we played well as well in Anaheim. So it's not like we didn't play well in a while. We just did not play well last night. We played a good game against Ottawa, just did not get the result. So it's important for us to stay level. During the season, sometimes there's some games you don't play as good, but you find a way to win, and there's some nights you play good and you deserve better, but just the way it happens. So I think our guys are really competitive. They're really proud. They're emotional. So it's important with a young team like that to learn to stay level, and we'll be just fine.
Maverick Lamoureux got the call up. He got to play last night. Can you share with us why you guys believed he was ready for the call and what you expect from him moving forward?
I think he did a really good job in Tucson when he was there. Play a lot of minutes, get confident, get some rhythm. And last night he did a good job with us. He's a big body. He has length. He skated well. He took simple decision with the puck. He moved the puck quick. So I think he did a good job. I think he obviously he's a young defenseman. He's only 20 years old. He will keep growing, but he showed us a lot of potential last night. That was good to see.
Yeah, I mean, you pointed it out the other night. The Ottawa game was really about 8 minutes of kind of like, really, that just happened kind of hockey, which,
Exactly.
Hockey pucks are weird shaped, and ice is very weird. And, we say that about football all the time, too, because we're like, hey, that football's a weird shape. It bounces in weird directions sometimes. And the same thing happens in hockey. And so it's interesting you said that. Like, look, we played well against Ottawa. We lost 4-0 because there was an 8.5-minute stretch where, we couldn't control everything right there. But when you see guys have games like that, when they sit down, and again, this is something we're just learning when it comes to the professional hockey side of things. How often do you guys get to sit down, break down film and things like that? How important is film to hockey, or is it something you're like, well, look, we would drive ourselves nuts if we had to look at film from every game?
No, we do it every game. We do it every game. We just do it differently. We pick a part of the game we think we need to work or do better, or we did good, and we need to do even better, stuff like that. And we talk about that. We do a review on that. We can obviously not review every phase of every game. That will be too heavy mentally for everybody. If you compare on football, there's the preparation in football. We all know that, but the intensity of the game. Imagine if you had to duplicate that every second day. The mental intensity. I'm not talking even about the physical intensity. I'm just talking the mental. That's what the challenge in hockey. You need to be able to regroup because you're at your best every second day. You have to be at your best mentally every second day. So you need to be focused. You need to be prepared. You need to be urgent. You need to do all those things every second day. That's what the challenge of the professional hockey, which in example in football, it's once a week. You have time to just breathe a little bit, make a step back, do your preparation, be urgent in your studying the system, the structure, and all of it. But you have time to regroup, which in hockey, it's every second day. So you have 24 hours to get over it and prepare yourself for the next one.
The injury bug has hit you guys, but we got some good news today. Nick Bukestad's coming back. He'll play against the Kings. What does his return mean for you guys?
Oh, he's a great veteran. It will be good for us. He's big body. He's strong on puck. He's a right in center. Good for us on faceoff. And he's a competitor. He competes. He works hard in every shift, every presence. And he's a great veteran. He has a great presence in the locker room. There's never a bad day in his life. He's always smiling. He's always working. He's a really humble guy. So that would be good to have him around, having his presence around the team.
Andre Tourigny, head coach of the Utah Hockey Club, joining us here. They're taking on the Kings tomorrow in a little matinee Saturday action for the Utah Hockey Club. And then they come back and take on the San Jose Sharks on Monday back here at Delta Center. And then another one. It's just so crazy to me, Coach, to see, okay, the Sharks are coming to town. The Calgary Flames are coming to town. That it blows my mind as just like a guy who's followed sports my entire life to watch Calgary coming down to Utah. Every game I feel like is going to be really, really fun to just be like, I can't believe we have an NHL team here. So we appreciate you joining us every week, Coach, and we'll talk to you again next week.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, guys.
All right, Coach Andre Tourigny. Isn't it amazing that, like, that's the head coach of the Utah Hockey Club, and, like, he has his head on straight? Like, I mean, I would be going nuts. They've lost 9-1 in the last two games, and he's like, yeah, but let's look at it for the reality of what it was. It's a great perspective to get.
It's an 82-game season, and remember, they stole some games on the road early in the season that we didn't think they were going to get.
Sure.
All things even out. I think we're starting to learn as the season goes along where this team is at. They're a very good team. They're a very talented team, but they also have some weaknesses. And right now, those weaknesses are showing. Their back line, it's battered. They're not consistently scoring, and between the pipes, they haven't been good the last two games. So they got work to do. We'll see how they work it out, and you can tell from his perspective, he's ready to do the work.
Let's. Hey, by the way, if you heard the Sharks in that interview right there, that was our keyword to get you going to get some tickets to the Sharks and the Hockey Club on Tuesday night here at Delta Center. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. Call number 12 gets those tickets right now when you heard that keyword there. So let's jump in, though. It's officially a Football Friday again. Let's get in here with the cut, and we'll jump right back into talking about our local teams and get going with Sly and Riley again.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is What Made the Cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's just, hey, find a way to win. It's a good team win. I can't sit there and say like one phase in all three phases that one was the key, but all three just stuck together and we just found a way to get a win. I mean, it's a good team win, but we made mistakes, and that's team mistakes So, but we were able to find a way to. Good teams can find a way to get this done, man. I've coached some of those and been on some really special teams. They just find a way and they believe. And these guys, they know we got to go back to get back to work and relish the moments that we're in. But we're gonna have fun and enjoy it.
Coach Kalani Sitake, and man, I'll tell you, Riley, you brought it up in the first segment, which was that idea of like he's done a masterful job of, at the very least, getting the message to his guys that nothing is given, and to go from 2-7 last year in conference play to now riding this wave of being undefeated. The term special season gets used a lot, but special season is kind of beyond what I think what the fans' imagination is. And JJ and I have been listening to this all year. All these guys going, "Oh no, well, we believed it. None of you guys did." And I'm like, "Well, can you blame us? I mean, come on." Like we I love when they're like, "Yeah, you guys didn't believe us.
Dumb.
We don't care about anything you guys say."
You
and
lost
I'm like,
5 in a row in last season.
I'm like, "Geez, man." Yeah, but when you hear that though, Kalani has had a message every week. It's been the exact same, and it's worked this year.
I find BYU fans like they want Retzlaff to be like the next in the line of like McMahon and Young and Bosco and Detmer and Beck and Hall so bad. I'm like, is he great? Is he? I'm like, dude, he's playing good football.
They're winning.
They're winning. The team's good football. Like, he got. I don't know how much with COVID and all this stuff. It's so hard to keep track. I think he's got one more year of eligibility.
He would after this. Yeah,
maybe,
he's a junior.
Yeah, I know. That's like in my mind. I know he's a junior, but also it's like, oh, juniors these days,
right.
They have 3 more years of eligibility. Somehow.
Look, if Cam Rising has another year, everybody does.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So anyway, sorry, but I'm like, let's let him play out his eligibility, and then for the rest of our lives, we can determine and debate how great he is. But like as far as now, anyway, that's how I feel about. That's kind of been my response in relation to all the quarterbacks questions. Obviously, I get the majority of those because that was the position I played and all that. But that's also how I feel about this team. Like, we don't why do we have to be so quick to, like, position this team who's in the middle of their season in their place in BYU lore in history? Like, let's just enjoy it game after game. And I'll tell you one thing. I mean, it's great. The stadium atmosphere has been great. You got all these Big 12 teams that are coming in and see the production value that's happening at Utah State, and you got a ton of good stuff rolling on social media. The traditional like cable outlets and ESPN are starting to pick up on this. You got Gus Johnson sitting there making great calls and Lavelle Edwards a couple weeks ago. So like, let's just enjoy this while it is, and I think that's the way Kalani's taking it, while also making these guys. Stay humble, reminding them that it wasn't that long ago that they were kind of floundering at 5-7 and just could not get out of their own way and were finding ways to lose games. And some of the changes that they've made to now not find where they were finding ways to lose games, now they're finding ways to win games, and how thin that razor's edge is. And, man, it's a beautiful thing, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it.
How do 1984 talk is like
yeah, it's bonkers.
That's apples and oranges. Much. College football is different now than it was in 1984, but like let's slow down a little bit, man.
Yeah.
Let's let this play out.
What's the thing that has to happen for a team to maintain, like turning a corner at some point? Sly, you among all of us, you're the only one who's had an undefeated season at this level. So the question is when you get to that 7th and 8th game and like everything feels like a little bit like you're walking on eggshells in terms of performance, or is it more like, no, we're rolling here? Is there some version of like, hey, BYU's got to turn this corner to be able to get to this next level? Because I think Athlon is one the publication we're looking at that gives BYU the 3rd best odds to go undefeated still, because the schedule is kind of working out for him, like despite what we thought the schedule. But that is also scary too. So how is it, and what's the next version of being able to turn a corner to get to 12-0?
Man, I'm telling you right now, things are tight, right? Like you're getting down to this late in the season, you're like, oh crap, I'm 7-0. Oh crap, I'm 8-0. Other teams realize that too. The pressure is on. Guys are going to want – they have a new mentality, new narrative at going in the game. The narrative going into the Utah game is going to be like, I want to ruin BYU's season. No more perfect season for BYU, right? Like, that's going to be the narrative going into that. And so, like, things are going to be tight. Games that you don't expect to be tight are going to be tight. The game against Kansas, right? That may be tight, right? We played New Mexico when we were undefeated. And – For some reason, we only won by 3 points.
10-7 in Albuquerque.
And so, like, those things happen, and you got to keep your head on your shoulders and just understand one game at a time, one play at a time. That's the biggest thing. I really think that this team can go undefeated. It's crazy for me to say that, BYU, because I did not have them coming in this season playing this well, doing the things that they're doing. But the little things that we've been talking about over the years, they're finally starting to do that. They're getting complimentary football. Special teams has been playing off the charts. Parker Kingston has been a tremendous asset. He's not your ace in the hole on offense, but he's definitely a great complimentary player. Defensively, they're just doing all the things right.
Yeah.
Right? Causing turnovers, causing opportunities. They're just playing great team ball that I think will carry them through the rest of the season.
Can I end this segment with something that the College Game Day loyalists saw last week? Yeah, right? Like, who's dealt with this more than anybody else? It was Nick Saban in his time at Alabama, right? As far as, like, turning that corner and are we legit and dealing with the questions or whatever. Did y'all see this, the nothing speech?
The nothing speech, yeah. That's a classic for him, man.
Yeah, if you wake up in the morning, you feel entitled, what would that get you? Nothing. If you think somebody owes you something, what would that get you? Nothing. If you lose your discipline and your work ethic, what will that get you? Nothing. If you fail to prepare and pay attention to detail, what will that get you? Nothing. Nothing is more important than staying focused on being the best you can be the next play, the next quarter, the next game. So, like, that's got to be the message with BYU. Yeah, and so exactly. you say like, what's that corner? I don't know that it's definable, and that's the great thing about football. I don't think you can spend too much time trying to predict what that next hurdle will be. Rather, just focus on your preparation, that whatever that hurdle may be, you can address it in the best way possible.
Is that supposed to be our job, though? It's supposed to be talking about the future. Yeah, they got to keep the main thing, right? But
there you go.
We're over here talking about the future for them. I agree with Riley. I think the mission needs to be next play, next opportunity.
Well, and you talk about Utah wanting to spoil BYU's undefeated season. So would every team, right, who they face off against. Obviously, especially Utah, but every team knows exactly who they'd be playing at that point. If BYU beats UCF this weekend, they'll be into the bye week, and then the first college football playoff rankings will come out without having to play that 9th week yet, and so they would likely
still be left out, which would be awesome. I mean, I've been writing emails like,
You're
leave them out.
Please.
No, I want that to happen. Because
you know the second they're in.
Oh, dude, if you're a player,
it's all going to come crashing down.
Yeah.
We'll fly you down to Dallas-Fort Worth, stand outside the hotel there, the college football player. BYU doesn't deserve anything. Yeah.
Signs in a megaphone.
As he's wearing all his BYU gear. What's wrong?
It's just like, what has BYU done? Keep them out of the rankings. All right.
No,
Saban's right.
Go.
We're nothing. Not until the very end. All right. Stay here, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
It's a Friday, and we're talking football non-stop. All football, all the time. This is another edition of Football Friday with JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on a Football Friday. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen, Stevenson Sylvester, and Riley Nelson, the crew all back together again after a couple of weeks of Riley. Was it Hawaii? Is that what you said? It's a couple of different Hawaii.
It was
Mexico.
It was a 5-year-old birthday. Yeah, 5-year-old birthday for my second son 2 weeks ago, and then a chance to catch up with Coach Mendenhall and all those guys. Hey, I got a request for you, Alex.
Yeah, let me hear it.
Hold on, though. I know it's Football Friday. But, like, we literally have the best World Series since, I don't know when. Give me at least, give us 2 to 4 minutes, maybe, like, at the bottom of the second hour.
Football Friday?
Or the bottom of the third hour.
It depends on who your team is. It depends on who your team is. I'll allow
you
it.
You should see the way he's dressed.
I got my Ohtani shirt. I got my Dodgers socks.
Oh, there you go.
A West Coast kid.
I don't know.
I'm not going to cheer for the Rockies, so
I know.
And the Giants are those Bay Area. The Bay Area is just soft, so like I ended up kind of a Dodgers fan. But dude, just Judge, Soto, Stanton, Freeman, Betts, Ohtani. Like I'll save it for whenever, but you got to give me like at least 4 minutes.
We'll
some
do
point
it.
in the show.
We'll do it. We were talking about it. We obviously
was 3.5,
chatted about it a bunch this week. No, I know. We talked about it a bunch this week because these teams are. I mean, this World Series is a far cry from last year's $9 or $19 World Series
Diamondbacks,
tickets in
Rangers.
Arizona
Well,
that were still
the
available.
MLB offices right now, guys, are just like, we've been waiting 3 decades for this again. They got what they wanted.
Dying. Yeah,
Should be
they
great.
got it. They did. And the script, they followed the script just like they were supposed to. All right, so here's the deal. It's a football Friday, yes, like you said. And so we were talking about getting this Utah team back on track. Now, the good news is Houston is not a good team at all. Going down to Houston, people have not had a hard time against the Cougars even at their home place. And so when you see a struggling offense and a struggling defense that is the Houston Cougars, well, I say struggling as in like they actually have had a bad go kind of over the whole season, but Willie Fritz and his guys are trying to figure some things out, and I think that's a good time. And we thought the same thing last week with TCU, although TCU is a very different team than Houston. And I know you're probably saying, yeah, they lost to Houston, but I do think that this Houston team has got way more problems than meets the eye. And so the chances of Utah getting on track against Utah this week are what, fellas?
Alex, 96 points in 7 games. Holy cow! That is rough. Yeah, that's 13.7 points per game. Woo. And I know Utah's not lighting the scoreboard on fire, but they got almost double that at 168. I think the chances are high. I mean, how can they not be? I didn't say this in the first segment, but when I was at Utah State. And I wasn't the starter. I was actually – so they fired our offensive coordinator after the first 5 games, and then I was installed as the quarterback with the interim offensive coordinator. But you do it does just bring a little bit of excitement into, like, even if it's just a different messenger of the same – it's the same play, but it's coming from a different voice. And then I also think, like, I've seen just body language. Sly can speak to this more detail, but just body language, watching on TV, the defense is kind of like – for what? Like, their body language kind of screams for what? Meaning, like, come out here, sell out. I mean, obviously they're Morgan Scalley and Kyle Whittingham coach defense, so they're playing hard with good effort and they're playing physically. But when you see, like, that last tenth of effort that you need, you do kind of see some, like, okay, I bust it. We stop them here on 4th down. We hold them to a field goal here. For what? It's not like the O's going to come back and keep their end of the bargain. Nobody's obviously verbalized that, and I might be reading into things a little bit too deeply, but I think you're going to see improved body language and energy from the defense, and this offense should have at least something of a revitalization. And at the very least, even if they don't, you just got to score 14 points because Houston's averaging 13.
I mean, I agree. I mean, a different voice is everything. Here's the thing. We don't know Mike Majakian with this personnel, with this offense, right? And so we can speculate all we want. We just don't know. And JJ's probably knows exactly what I'm about to say here. I am sick and tired of game planning and projecting what Utah should do versus what they will do. It's been pissing me off all year. And so I have no idea. You can just go off the history. But, like, look. This team is so talented, and we should be beating teams like Houston the way that SMU beat or scored on TCU. I know they let TCU score, 42 points a game, but they put 66 points up on TCU, and I'm just like, we have plenty of capability of doing stuff like that, and I just don't understand why. So, like, honestly, simplifying this, Duty Stanley, Mekhi Bernard, that's just your running backs. You got 18 tight ends. You got 14 million receivers, and you can't get nobody the ball? And so, like, I just hope that we can do something. Isolate something on some backside, trick plays, bring some excitement, make the players want to run the plays that are called. That's all. I think what Mike Majakian said in that bit we said earlier of, collaboration and input from everybody will do that. So I do see an energy shift are coming tomorrow, hopefully from this team, because I don't think Kyle Whittingham could take another down week, and because he was so pissed after this last game because it just doesn't make sense It is extremely bewildering. We had everything out in front of you, the quarterback, the schedule, the personnel, the coaching staff. Everything was right there, and we are they are underachieving like crazy this year. So I'm hoping that there's more juice, and I think the defense will play with more juice once they see the offense being able to complement them in some kind of way. So I see that happening.
Well, you give Utah credit last week. They did solve their red zone woes by not going in the red zone
Don't
at
go
all.
in there. Don't even cross half field. How about
I thought that was really effective, except for the fact they didn't score as many points. But they should be able to get that going this week. The Houston Cougars, they're 11th in scoring allowed within the red zone. So.
Hold on. Did we never cross half field? Oh, we crossed half field once, but then we got sacked on the next play and got back.
Never got in the red zone. The 70-yard touchdown pass.
But we were never.
No.
Wow.
Hey, what do we make of Houston being third in the conference in yards allowed per game? I know SMU lit them up.
Yeah,
It
might be skewed a little bit by that, but they're not a good defensive team either.
They're not a good team.
They're just not good.
Is that just because their offense is so weak that they're giving opponents short fields all the time?
Yeah. I bet if you were to, and I haven't looked at it, but I bet if you actually dove into the time of possession, Houston is probably on the thin side every game. Well, I don't know. I mean, if teams are blowing them up and they're getting scores quick. Although I will say, like it was, I think the Iowa State game, I think they were maybe up 6-0 at the half, or like 9-0 at the half on Houston. They ended up shutting them out 20-0. Cincinnati actually beat them 34-0, and so they can kind of hold their own a little bit. And I think that just as I think it's about wearing them down. I just think it's not a very disciplined team, and so. Typically, those disciplined teams or the undisciplined teams, after about a couple quarters of them, feeling what you don't want to do is give them hope at the beginning. I think that's what Utah needs to avoid, is just punch them in the mouth early, and at some point they won't be able to respond, because I just don't think they're made of this stuff to be able to hang an entire game. Let's take another break here. We'll jump in and we'll get more into this. I do want to play that piece of sound from Kyle Whittingham that we didn't play early in the show. I want to get to what he said about what the offense is going to look like, because I want to see what exactly that means and what they're going to do to try to get a little bit to get back on track to scoring 30 or 40 points. If you're going to do it against a team, Houston could be one to do it against. Hey, you can win lunch every week from the KSL Sports Zone, thanks to Cafe Rio and their Taco Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, listen across the station all day long. You're going to get a chance to win a $20 Cafe Rio gift card every show, every Tuesday for Taco Tuesday. Get those great deals available every week at CafeRio.com. We'll come back. We've got more to go. I'm at the Doug Smith Kia here in Linden. The guys are up at Box Elder High School for Box Elder versus the Granger Lancers, who are coming to town. I don't know what the seeding is of those two, but we'll get into that game a little bit longer, probably a little bit later in the show when we're talking World Series as well. So stay with us. More to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
It's a Friday, and we're talking football non-stop. All football, all the time. This is another edition of Football Friday with JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen. Thanks for being with us on the program, everybody. I am down here at the Doug Smith Kia in Linden. Like I said, I've had to train my brain not to say American Fork just because we've been so used to it. But brand new location, awesome place to be able to come down. The showroom is beautiful. They have all the cool models in here. I just went over there and got my hands all over the EV9. Those are my fingerprints on there, not a bunch of kids. They're mine. So, man, there's a lot of cool models in here. We'll chat with Brad Holt in just a moment here. First, JJ, you brought the question up, and the question was, man, we're at the spot now where Utah could miss a bowl, and I'm convinced, and you guys tell me if I'm insane for thinking this, but at some point you go, you know what? If you're 5-7, or if you're on the point of being 6-6, who wants to go to that garbage bowl, whatever the 6-6 bowl game is? BYU, their standard this year was, hey, be nice to get bowl eligible. Now that's obviously changed a little bit. But if you're Utah, why do you want to go to a stinky bowl that, I don't know, maybe you guys disagree, and all the extra practices is the argument and all that crap that comes with it. I just think at some point you go, why do you want to go to Shreveport and play UAB or South Florida, you're kind of half into it.
You are insane. I don't know that this take is the main reason why you are, but you are. Anyway, go ahead, Sly.
I mean, look what we did against Northwestern last year.
And
Nobody
that was a better
played.
bowl. Yeah.
That was the
Felt
Vegas
like a
bowl.
waste of time.
Literally, I was down there for that whole week, and I'm just like, the energy was
I was
terrible.
in Shreveport with BYU. That was an awful experience for fans, players, and everybody.
But if the weather's better, is Shreveport better? Listen, as fans, it might not. I don't know. I had ambitions of playing beyond college, but I knew I wasn't a prototype. Like I had talked to scouts, I talked to agents. Like I knew what my chances looked like. So going into my senior year, and I knew like I had a very limited amounts to play. So like it was meaningful to me. I didn't care if it was like back to the sophomore, days at Logan High when it's literally 40 people in the stands and 38 of them are parents.
I hope every player feels like you do, but I'm not convinced that every
well,
player.
And I think generationally, it is, and like.
Yeah. It's not like
I think it's generational.
It's not like it used to be for us, and I don't know if the times has changed, and maybe this is what Alabama and LSU and all those guys felt back in the early 2000s. USC, they don't want to go to BS Bowl, and like for us, it was just like,
the BS Bowl. That's a nice one, actually.
He forgot the C, but
that's.
Hey, though, let's talk about. We're talking about them not making a bowl.
In December, by the way.
I think that proposition is absurd, unless we truly think that the offense is like that weak.
Well, now hold on a minute. Why is it that absurd? Why is it that absurd?
You've got analytics.
Here's why.
You got BYU who's going to be ranked. You got Iowa State who's going to be ranked. You have Colorado who could insanely.
The defense still is only giving up 16 points per game. It is still the number two
those
passing.
numbers go up late in the game because we just haven't had anything on offense.
That's where I say that
it could be even less than that.
That's where I say that they're giving up late when it's that what for mentality a little bit. Again, I'm not accusing them. Okay, 16 points per game. They are still second in the conference in rush defense and only allowing 120 per game. They're only allowing 183 yards through the air, and total yards they're second in the conference at only allowing 305.
What are we in turnover ratio?
That's not.
Yeah, it's terrible. You don't have to look it up. We're not
terrible.
causing.
So you're saying while they're good at like bending but not breaking or limiting yards and points, you're saying what they're not doing is wreaking havoc. Yeah,
we don't have sacks. It's not sack Lake City.
Which when you have an offense this ineffective, you need that.
Yes, you do.
Did you notice?
Gotta have some kind of spark.
Hey JJ, did you notice that? Sly started saying they instead of we in the last second.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm distancing myself.
Okay.
And I didn't want a freezing takes. I didn't want a cold takes exposure.
Hey,
but
when you talk about bad, they are they.
I remember sitting there.
They them.
I remember sitting. It was one of our early ones where
Sly's changed his sports pronouns.
We were baking in the sun. I think our little MiFi overheated right in the middle of a monologue from Sly about how this offense was going to average 40 points a game. I didn't call him out because I didn't know.
Would, baby.
This guy's the sideline reporter, but I was like, 40? I didn't know. Alex and Urban maybe averaged 40.
You're talking about the Baylor game, right?
DNA. It was before the Baylor game.
Well, look, we started the game 17-0.
Yeah.
I was talking smack, too. I text you guys.
It's been all downhill
And
since.
then we went to bed.
Hey, Coach
It was that text.
It might be
It was that
Sly's
text
fault,
that did
man.
it.
It was.
Yeah,
That was the turning point in the season.
It was. And I never talked beforehand. I went on and did it.
I love the idea of changing your sports pronouns. That's the best part of the show today.
By the way, Granger's walking past us. They got some dogs out here, and I love these powder blue helmets.
I'm telling you, they have some sneaky cool, colors from Granger with the powder blue. I would have gone just full, Houston Oilers back in the day. That's kind of the vibe.
I like that. Yeah.
All right.